everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and today I'm looking at the Hot Wheels Star Wars TIE Interceptor. Now, the TIE Interceptor is one of my favorite Imperial fighters from the original trilogy, and I always wanted one. The closest I got was Baron Fell's TIE Interceptor from the Hasbro Titanium line. I really wanted the normal TIE Interceptor, but I could never find it or afford it. So when I found out that the TIE Interceptor was coming out again, but this time from Hot Wheels, I jumped on it. Now, if you get this ship, it will come in a 2-pack with a Millennium Falcon. And I already reviewed this ship about 3 times, so I'll put a link to this in the description below. Now back to this fighter. For size, it's about 2 3/4 inches long, and that is great. And later on in the video, I'll compare it to other various TIE models, and trust me, it looks good. So the TIE Interceptor made its on-screen debut in Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, but it didn't stop there. Countless video games, books, I believe it was in Shadows of the Empire, comic books, anything you could think of, this ship was in it. So we have lots to talk about today. We're going to look at the mold, look at the paint, put it on a stand, compare it, and then we'll be done. So let's get moving. Starting this review looking at the mold, I must say Hot Wheels did an amazing job with the detail on this particular vessel. On the bottom, we have our blaster cannons, aka the chin guns. In the center, we have our transparent steel viewport, which looks amazing, very iconic for a TIE fighter. And now on the left and right side, we have our sensors. And just look at all the detail, all nice lines, little raised sections. Very cool. And on the left and right, we have our wind pylons, which are nicely detailed as well. I like the little section on the bottom with these, looks like a trident almost. Now on the top of the craft, we have our cockpit hatch, which is nicely detailed. Looks pretty cool. On the back of the ship, we have our ion engines and reactor. And look at all the great detail, all these raised sections, very nice. I think that came out really good right here in the center with all these little lines. Now, they did put a rivet back here and in the wings. I don't know, I think it's a good place. It's not super hidden, but come on, they put it in the back, they put it on the interior of the wingspan. So it's not that bad, trust me. And now looking at the wings, we have copyright crap on the top here and the bottom over here. It's not too bad, it's hidden. For the wings themselves, on the top here and bottom, we have our wind braces, which look really good. This section here, some people think it's a gun. It's actually targeting sensors. And you have one on this side and one on that side. And now we have our solar panels right here, or I should say solar arrays. And they look fantastic. Tons of tiny little, I would say recessed squares, sort of like a waffle or a fence. Just fantastic. And all this detail going down the wind. Excellent. And now on the tips of the winds, we have our blaster cannons, and there are 4, one on each tip. And I think that came out excellent. Now for the interior of the winds, they are also detailed very nicely. Pretty cool, especially this section. Lots of nice little squares, rectangles, and lines. Connecting it to the wind pylon. And one last thing, on the bottom of the ship, we have our peg port for our stand. And that's basically everything this ship has to offer. I think it is really good. And what makes the mold better is the very nice paint job. So let's take a look at that. Now looking at the paint on the TIE Interceptor, I must say, they only used about 5 colors, but Hot Wheels did an amazing job with this. The paint's very crisp and clean, and the colors are very nostalgic for me. Not only do they match what we saw in the film, but it brings me back to the Action Fleet and Micro Machines growing up. And the main color that does that is on the main body. It's this blue. And it is a great shade of blue here. Not too dark, but not too light either. Just brilliant. And that's over the whole ship. Second, we have red for the blaster cannons. And then right here on the transparent steel viewport, we got dark gray. And then we have glossy black for the window. And speaking of that glossy black, we see it on the top here for the cockpit hatch. On the back, we don't have no red for the engines. And finally, we have the black on the winds for the solar arrays. Nice and clean. I think it came out pretty damn good. And that black is also on the inside of the wings as well. Just a fantastic piece. So that does it for the mold and the paint. So let's get this baby on a stand, compare it, and we'll be done for today. And just like other Hot Wheels ships, comes with a cool stand. Peg it in the port like so, hear that click, and you're good to go. For comparison with the Hot Wheels TIE Fighter, we'll move from left to right. We have the original TIE Fighter, the TIE Fighter from Rebels, Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, the First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, and lastly, Kylo Ren's TIE Silencer. And yes, I know, some of these stands are Resistance/Rebellion, but all the stands are equal. I just wanted to get all the ships on the line on an equal stand so you could see size difference. And that does it today for my review of the Hot Wheels Star Wars TIE Interceptor. Again, this is 2 3/4 inches long, which is a pretty nice size as we saw compared to other TIE fighters. It fits in very well, and it was first seen in Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. So for pros and cons, pros, the detail is spot on. The paint is crisp and clean, and it reminds me of all the other TIE Interceptors we got from Micro Machines and the Action Fleet. I think the paint is great. The stand, very nice, uniform with the rest of the collection, and it has a nice Imperial symbol on the bottom, so I like it for that. Now the only con I can think of is that they do not sell this ship separately. If you want this, you have to buy the 2-pack, which also comes with the Millennium Falcon, which if you've been collecting these, you already have 2 or 3 by now anyway. Like, I'm sure you could go on eBay and get it separately from a seller, but if you could find it at retail, you do have to buy the Millennium Falcon with it. Now, speaking of eBay, if you're looking to buy this ship, I personally have never seen this at all in any retailer in my area. So if you're looking to find this, I would suggest Amazon. That's where I got mine. It was $12.99. Check eBay, check other online stores, and if you are in Walmarts or Targets or other toy stores like Toys R Us, keep an eye out, because you never know when one might pop up. So who do I recommend this ship for? Anybody who's a fan of the Empire, fans of TIE Fighters, this is for you. It is a nice fighter that fits in with the rest of the line, and it's the TIE Interceptor. It's a very nice design. It's a huge fan favorite. So that's everything I have to say about the ship. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, hit that like button, and if you would like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.